Hey guys, so I wanted to talk a little bit about perspective and the importance of changing your perspective on things and ways to do that. Let's use painting as the example. I am almost always painting small, about this size and smaller. And I have become, over the years, very, very comfortable with painting that size. I know exactly what to do. I can put out the canvas. I know exactly what to do. Very quickly, I can come up with a pretty nice painting. I know the brush strokes. I know how to create the composition and the design. I know how to use atmospheric perspective well in this type of painting. How much and what kind of paint to use, what size brushes and the type of brush strokes to use to create a certain effect. I got it all down. I've got it down because I've been doing it for years. I learned how to paint on a small canvas. I highly suggest that if you're just starting out painting, that you learn and you begin using small canvases. That's great. What happened to me anyways, and I'm sure there are some of others like you out there, let me know in the comments if you're like me, you get stuck in the comfort zone of painting small. So I spent many of my years painting these small canvases. Yeah, I have a small studio and it works better and it's easier to paint small, but really underneath that, if I pull back the layer, it's because I feel safe painting small, because I know what to do and I'm not going to mess it up. Then you get commissioned to do a large painting and you have to step out of your comfort zone. And it's been a ride. I'll call it a joyride because I enjoy and love discovering these new things about me. But it's not fun. It's not always fun. So here's the thing. I began painting this painting. I had a different composition in mind and I started to do that. You can look on my earlier videos and you'll find the composition that I started with, which would have looked great on a small painting, but I didn't like the way it looked on a large one. Not for the effect that I want, the softness, and it's for this very, very beautiful woman in Australia that I really wanted to give her something special. And the large format that I was using just wasn't doing that for me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Then I was using brush strokes and techniques that I just have in my back pocket while painting small, and that wasn't working either. It wasn't creating the layers that I want, the effect that I want, everything was going wrong. Another thing is that on a small painting, when you step away from it, a lot of the mistakes or the things that you don't pay much attention to or you don't have to worry about because it's on a small scale and it's not that important. But on a large scale painting like this one, you can see everything. And that was difficult for me. So I'm stepping back and looking and going, okay, yeah, it's fine, it's okay, but it's not what I want. Sometimes as I got more into the flow of painting, it began to come together, and it has come to this stage right now, and I'm actually very happy with it. But I had to release my boundaries, step away, crash over, jump over, swim across to the other side of the river to a new area so that I could begin to look around and see, how does a large painting work? A large realistic painting, not an abstract. Abstract is a different story altogether. But how does this work? How can I make it work like I can make a small painting work? And that whole practice has expanded me and has created that phase of unknowing and uncertainty and doubting and, kind of like wanting to put the painting away and not even bother with it. Ego, that's my ego, it's my ego. And trying to just like keep myself in that comfort zone. And we all do that with our lives in general, don't we? Yeah, we do. So the beautiful thing about learning a craft or learning the art of painting, learning how to paint, is not just so that you can paint something that looks good on your canvas, but it's about uncovering and understanding and growing and creating your own canvas. So when I think about the small painting to large painting example and put it into my life, let's use a political example. I grew up in a very liberal household. I grew up a Democrat, and most of my life has been, hardcore Democrat. That's just what I know. That's what I learned. Those are the highways that got ingrained in my head as a young child in my family. And had automatic negative responses towards the conservative side. Trump didn't help with that. But here's the thing. I began to wade across the river, go to the other side, and begin to look at things from the conservative point of view as best as I could, right? But just making that change was really, it really freaked me out, because I thought, oh my God, if I go across to the other side, then I'm a conservative, and that would be like a bad thing. And what I discovered was going across to the other side and looking at life and politics from that perspective has only enriched my understanding and made me, rather than two separate parts, coming closer to creating some kind of wholeness. So we get stuck in our preconceived notions. We get stuck in our habits. Painting, like getting used to painting on a small scale and then suddenly doing something new, disrupts the pattern, opens up doors, helps you grow and come into and stand in a greater circle, a greater area around you. We can do the same thing with our beliefs, with our ideas of what we think is true and right, and open up to a different perspective. Doesn't mean you become that different perspective unless you find it more useful to you. But what usually happens is just opening up to the other perspective, the other idea, creates more of a community-based outlook on life, on yourself and the people around you, rather than tribalism. And that seems to be something that we all need to do more of, especially today in these times when we're all being pushed and pulled into our own separate little groups. Let's open the doors a little bit. Let's get out of the small canvas and move on to the larger one and test it out and see what we can learn and explore and understand. It will help us all grow, all of us, in ways that we probably won't even understand or begin to conceive. So take care, everyone.